Hello everyone, and welcome back to D&D. This is a 1 terabyte Seagate Constellation with something seriously wrong with it. I put it in the computer, it spins up, it reads, and in disk management, it recognizes as 3.86 gigabytes. So this 3.86 gigabyte drive is 1 terabyte, which is obviously not the capacity of this drive. I've never disassembled a Constellation drive before. They're what came after the Barracuda ES and before the Exos and that kind of thing that are Seagate's modern server drives. So I'm pretty interested to see what's in here. I bet it'll be just basically a Barracuda with some extra filters, but still interesting to see. We can see that it probably has a lot of platters from A, its weight, but B, because of how much of the bottom of the drive is filled. We also have a really substantial controller board. We have a 2014 date of manufacture on this drive, so this drive is a good decade old. And just knowing Seagate, there's going to be another screw right here on the head. And this is like a Dell OEM drive, so that's why it has all the Dell branding on it. But this is still a Seagate drive. There's probably also a screw here. Yes, there is. It's long. I find it pretty funny that it has this little lump here. Don't know what that's for. No clue what's under that, so hopefully that's something we will figure out once we get further into this drive. I think there's only one more screw, and it's going to be under here. Oh, there might actually be one in the center of the platters. So, if there's a screw in the center of the platters, that means that the platters aren't secured to the motor by a single screw on the clamp, which that's always a good thing, because of course one screw is not a very secure method of holding the platters together, especially on a higher end server class drive like this one. So that's why I couldn't get to it earlier. There's one screw on the drive that uses a different Torx bit size. Guess they do that just to be difficult. I took out all the screws, but I'm still feeling quite a lot of resistance. Could just be really strong seal. Wow. Yeah, oh my god, it's empty! That was just a really strong seal. There's f***ing nothing in here! Oh my god, that's hilarious! Okay, oh, that's not good. Seeing a filter that looks like this is usually an indication of a head crash. Because if the filter is all gray, the reason it is gray is because there's a lot of stuff that's scraped off of the platters. This is really sad. Like, they've got this big-ass, nice server drive chassis. Let's see, how many platters can this fit? 1, 2, 3... This can fit 5 platters, and it only has 2. And of course it's cheaper for them to only put 2 platters in here, but it's just kind of sad when you see a big drive with nothing in it. Looks like they are using aluminum pieces between the platters to minimize vibration and air resistance and all that good stuff. That's always a standard thing on server drives. Unfortunately, no exceptional filtering. And that lump on the drive, it does literally nothing. This serves no purpose. Like this weird bump in the lid is just there. Actually, my guess is, because this is the shape of the label on every other Seagate drive, I actually would not be surprised if they put that there just for the label. Because they can't move the label over, because that would block the filter. And it's probably cheaper to put that bump in the drive than to change the shape of their label, because I bet they have one manufacturing process for all of these labels, if that makes sense. Well, hello, train. Hitachi's enterprise drives are always fun to disassemble because they're packed with platters. And it's always fun. Like, even just their 1 terabyte ones always have like 4 platters. In typical Seagate fashion, this is actually something I do like about their drives for disassembly. The screws on the spindle clamp aren't too tight to get off with just a screwdriver. Oh, this is also another nice thing. The heads are parked off platter. They are load ramp, not landing zone. And landing zone drives are not a thing that you really want from a reliability standpoint, at least. Now, this head assembly, I'm gonna say, it looks really cheap. This is machined out of 1 block of aluminum instead of, you know, properly made. It just doesn't look all that nice. And I don't mean from a visual standpoint. I mean, from looking at it, I can tell that it probably was a cheaper alternative. Alright, spindle clamp off, and these platter separators are really fun. And this is actually the thickest one that I've ever seen because it is made to take the space of 3 more platters. So now I have this big, just aluminum ring, and yeah, they're a little too big to fit on 1 finger, but if you like, ow, yeah, that's practical and stylish. Anyway, let's get our coasters out of here. Ah, that's right, I have to move the head assembly off the load ramp, which means taking out the load ramp, I could just break it, but that risks scratching the platters. Now, it does look like we have reasonably large magnets, and that's always... Geez, those are huge. Okay, oh, that's comforting. So we have pretty large, quite strong magnets, and that's very good. Also, this is strangely red. It's very pretty. The coil on the actual back of the arm here is nice and red. The screw on the load ramps is, again, a slightly different size from every other screw in the drive, which is a little disappointing. But now... Oh, shit. That is a head crash. That... Ooh, that is terrible. Alright, so as I predicted from the full filter, it looks like the heads crashed on the back of this platter. That's something I've never seen. When a head crash occurs, which is the heads touching the platter, usually it's on the top side of the platter because of, you know, gravity. But it looks like they actually touched the bottom side of the platter, which is really confusing. And from the marks on the other platter below it, they also managed to scuff this one. Oh, look, another ring. That's really odd. How the heck? How did that happen? How did it crash on the top of the lower platter, but the bottom of the upper platter? Seagate drives are always intriguing to tear down because their failures are just so ridiculous and goofy. I don't recommend anyone to buy a Seagate drive that's not a 10 or 15,000 RPM because they're like consumer, even their like prosumer or server grade 7200 RPM drives, well, things like this happen to them. And Yeah, I wouldn't trust these with anything. I'm just so confused how that would even happen. The heads would have had to bend outwards to have contacted both platters. And that would be exceptionally hard to do. But I guess Seagate finds a way. We'll take off our controller board. I am expecting to be disappointed. Rarely are Seagate controller boards very high-end. Final screw out and... oh, actually not awful. So we do have thermal pads to 2 contact areas on the back of the drive. That's good for cooling, that helps. We've got flash memory, ROM, motor control, and our main controller, which under the thermal pad, which I can't get off actually, the cache chip on here is Samsung, and it looks like it is a, wow, a 64 megabyte cache, which is pretty good. Yeah, this, I have no words. They could have saved so much metal. They could have made this drive so much smaller by just putting it in a shorter chassis to fit 2 platters. It's like kind of funny, but it's also sad to realize that this is like the state of the industry, and there are probably a lot of people who own these drives. Well, that's where I'm gonna wrap up this video. I sure do love a good, ridiculously disappointing hard drive teardown. So that's it for this one. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope this failure was quite enjoyable for you to watch. If it was, tons of other hard drive content on the channel if you are interested, so you might want to go check that out. But for today, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.